Shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all honor, all praise, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rechak, Wadash. Double honors to the elder apostles and bishops of the great millstone that rule well. And as always, peace, blessings, and salutations unto the full elect tabernacle of David, scattered abroad across the four winds of the earth. Now, I'm trying to figure out if I'm going to entitle this video, Cry Me a Freaking River. Because that's pretty much what this guy, all right, the gorilla, that's basically what he's doing on this platform, and it's interesting how things come full circle, right? After he got rejected, casted out of the congregation here at Great Millstone, he went on his own, and he still had, wickedness going on, with this guy, and he was being called out. And he decides to run right to this guy, all right, the House of Unconsciousness, the leader of the House of Unconsciousness, unbeliever, all right? And he ran over there and he called himself rebuking the men that actually taught him, most of what he knew in the Hebrew Israelite faith. He just completely he went and denigrated those men, spoke evil of them, blasphemed them, which means basically to revile. He went and reviled, men who actually taught him. So we knew back then that this guy had no integrity, he had no character. He was always a dude that was, he put himself first. And now, he's back at it. Now he's he's not reviling the elder apostles per se, but he's reviling, One West Israelites. Now that, the curtains got pulled back and somebody got exposed. So now he runs right back over to that platform, and now he's, looking for sympathy, and he's playing victim. He's running over here. He needed a shoulder to cry upon because, he feel as though, he still deserved the love and respect that he once had. And now that his pride and ego is hurt because, nobody sees him the same, now he runs over to a platform led by an unbeliever to cry. So that's basically what this whole interview is about, him crying, okay? Even though he's the one that was at fault. He was the one that was in sin. And now he's saying, well, you guys are not following the scriptures because when somebody turns from something, you're not supposed to mention it ever again. That's true. That's true. But how many offenses have you done? And then you turn around, instead of receiving the correction, the rebuke, you turn around and you wax even more proud. Then you start throwing, tantrums, and you start pointing fingers and deflecting and not taking self-accountability. We've seen this time after time after time with this individual. So, hey, cry me a freaking river, man. All right? You the one that held yourself to a particular standard that you didn't live up to. That's your fault, not anybody else's fault. Your fault. So anyway, Lord willing, I don't be too long because I really didn't plan on doing any more videos on this dude. But this was streaming yesterday and I didn't really get a chance to watch it. But I was curious to see what he was gonna say. And now he's saying that, I never said that I was going to leave the truth. I never said I was going to. Well, when you separate yourself and you leave all these young men that was once looking up to you, you're already abandoning the mission. You're scattering the flock, which the Lord said, woe to the pastors that scatter the sheep of my pasture. All right. We already heard you loud and clear in the original video where you was announcing that you will no longer be a part. All right. You said you're going to be unlimited. What exactly did that mean? I'm going to be free. Free to do what? So we already know what this is all about. And now that the scrutiny comes down, you run to an unbeliever to cry upon his shoulder and play victim. You're only making it worse for yourself, homie. Now hold up. Let me start off with a script. I don't want to go too long without bringing out the word, of course. And this was your problem, and that's why the Most High is not dealing with you. Proverbs 29:1, it says, he that being often reproved hardeneth his neck shall suddenly be destroyed, and that without remedy. All right. And, this has been a ongoing issue, with this character. All right. Since you've been ousted from Great Millstone up until now, there's been always something coming up, and you have to get rebuked or checked, and you never receive it. You got to find a way to, point the finger and not hold yourself accountable. You will not humble yourself. All right. So this right here, this is not genuine, because if you would have never got exposed, you wouldn't be here. Okay. You would not be here. There's some issues that's going on with, Israelites as a whole, and guys are not representing right. Before getting exposed, if you would have, expressed this, when you were still, moving in your Hellcat, getting Sonetta awards. All right. Having celebrities come to your Passover and stuff like that. You sitting in these, chief seats, receiving all this respect. When you had all that going on, and you decide to express this, then it would seem more genuine. But you ain't fooling nobody. So anyway, let's hear some of this. I'm like I said, I'm not going to make this long.
There's repentance processing, and the scriptures say that when a man turns from something, it shouldn't be mentioned. So the fact that something that
that's very true, but see, there's one thing when you backslide, you stumble, and it's a sincere slip. Yeah, brothers are supposed to see that, and they're supposed to restore you in meekness. But the type of sin that you were guilty for, even the scriptures say, thou shalt not pray for it. 1 John 5:16. I'm going to read it in the NLT. And it says, if you see a brother or sister, right, a follower of the anointed, sinning in a way that does not lead to death, you should pray. And the Most High will give that person life. All right. He'll give you life, and hey, it'll be over with. We move forward now. But there is a sin that leads to death. I am not saying you should pray for those who commit it. So it's a big difference. All right. You backslid. All right. You didn't commit a sin that was worthy of being punished. You know, you just might have trespassed against a brother or a few brothers. You know, you counsel about it, brothers bring it, you know, to your attention that this is what you've done. I'm offended about it. And hey, Salakia, forgive me. And the Lord said, you know, how many times shall you forgive your brother? Just 70 times 7. But this whole thing that happened back in March, all these things that came out, that's come on, man. How do you get over something like that? Especially being in that position, especially knowing the truth. A man that claimed that he's keeping the law. He's on the street corners, or with this little staff in his hand or whatever, or with a microphone, and he's telling the world that he doesn't sin. You're telling Christians there's no sin in you. So, come on, man. So you put yourself to that standard and you opened up yourself to this level of scrutiny, and you hate every bit of it because you're narcissistic. So now you're running over here to unbelievers and you crying. All right. And I'm pretty sure you don't give a damn what Apostle Paul in his epistle had to say, because you disrespect his authority too. But did it not say, be ye not unequally yoked together with unbelievers? So what are you running over to the conscious community for? They're still in darkness. Sarnetter knows about the truth, but he's not in it. He still has to promote other idolaters to make his bread, his daily bread. All right. He doesn't reverence Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai. All right. So I don't think, you know, you're not getting any brownie points with the Most High with all this crying over there. But see, you can be used now. All right. You could be used, and now you know, he's in his feelings. He's butthurt. So I'm pretty sure for entertainment purposes, you'll have men that'll, especially if they offer him some bread, he'll do a tell-all. He'll probably try to do his, you know, he'll do a documentary, or he'll, you know, come on the platform and try to spill beans on certain things because he felt like, well, shit, my shit is already out of the closet. Shit up, you know, misery loves company. You know, he might have some dirt on Hassad and Priest Hakah. I think there's a point in this video where he starts to, you know, bring up certain things that Hakah was, you know, guilty of, which we knew he was a nigga too. You know, there was a reason why y'all was a good match, man. Because like it says in Sirach 13, you know, every flesh, all flesh can sort of to the same, and every man will cleave unto his like. So it was a reason why the Lord paired you niggas up, because none of y'all was right, and y'all both was ousted from the body of a great millstone. So it's not the same, all right. And when you know to do the truth, but you still, you know, go in a different direction, then this is what, and notice he didn't quote this part. He didn't bring this one out. Ezekiel 18. Let me see. Cause hey, he broke it down one way, by saying that, but if the wicked will turn from all his sins that he have committed and keep all my statutes and do that which is lawful and right, he shall surely live. He shall not die. Right. And all his strength. This is Ezekiel 18 and 21. This is what he is referring to. Right. All his transgressions that he have committed, they shall not be mentioned unto him. In his righteousness that he have done, he shall live. Verse 23, have I any pleasure at all that the wicked should die, saith the Lord power, and not that he should return from his ways and live? But when the righteous turneth away from his righteousness, all right, you know, claiming to keep the commandments and love Yahushai, right? Doing the work, going out there teaching, you know, leading the sheep, which, you know, you was a failure at, and it's like and committeth iniquity, and that got exposed back in March, and doeth according to all abominations that the wicked man doeth, because that was clearly an abomination. All right, we don't even have to revisit, you know, the details of what was coming out. It would be it's still a shame to speak about that. All right, and it, you know, Israelites in the truth, we're not supposed to have any fellowship with that kind of behavior. You know, we're supposed to blast it. You know, rebuke it. It says, all his righteousness that he hath done shall not be mentioned. All right. In his trespass that he hath trespassed, and in his sin that he sinneth, in them shall he die. So you actually turned from righteousness because you knew the law. All right. You knew the truth, and you held yourself to a standard. Remember when Yahushua said, what measure of judgment, you know, you judge, by that same standard shall you be judged. All right. So as a priest, the shit that you were guilty of, you would be worthy of death. You know? So you were guilty of a lot of things, man. After a while, we stopped bringing up that Passover from 2021. That right there was wickedness. You had deserved to be ousted back then. And brothers rebuked you, and you had the same attitude. You tried to play humble at first, but when then, you know, brothers got on your head top, you went and played victim. And you denounced men that you called your elders at the time, because they gave you advice. They gave you a judgment, and you didn't like it. You know, because you like to be in a limelight. So that light has since then dimmed. So you're gonna look for it somewhere else, and that's where we are. Well, you got them degenerates over there in that community, they'll embrace you. They'll welcome you arms open. You know, because you can be unlimited sexually in their so-called communities. You know, you want to surround yourself with that Egyptian, you know, degenerative energy. You know, hey, go right ahead. So we'll listen to a little more, but all he's doing right now is crying and not taking accountability, and they flaming him up in the comment section too, by the way.
Turn from prior to anybody finding out about it, months later, everybody finds out about it and won't shut up about it, is proof that none of these guys are really following the scriptures. Because I didn't do anything to any of these guys. I didn't rob them.
You didn't have to do anything personally to us. You put a blemish basically on the ministry. The scriptures say, do nothing without offense, that the ministry be not blamed. That shit kept getting out there. All right, knowing the position that you hold, the popularity, that was a blemish. All right, you brought shame to Israel. All right, so you can't get upset when you still have a backlash. If anything, you should have just accepted your fate, man. But he's not humble enough.
Screw the old lady. I didn't do none of that, right? Everything that I did was between me and my wife in the privacy of our own text message.
No, see, so he's just harping on the fact that he got exposed, but he even knows the law. When somebody hears, a witness hears a particular sin, if that person hear it and don't utter it, he's going to be held accountable. So it got out there because it didn't sit right with your rib. All right, the way she did it wasn't cool, but you know exactly what happened. This is what happened to you, man. And I'm pretty much, after this, I'm done. All right, I'm done with this. And maybe he's not willing to admit, but really you mad, you angry with the Most High, because it was the Lord ultimately that had this done to you. Sirach 1:29, it says, "Be not a hypocrite in the sight of men," because you was always the guy with the precepts. All right, you know how to present information and speak and use certain words and fair speeches. You learned to do that once you got on your own, because you wasn't speaking as coherent, when you was at Great Millstone. Then out of nowhere, you just, your speech kind of changed a bit, and you leveled up, which at initially we wasn't mad at that. We like, okay, but it didn't erase the activity, the activities that was around you. All right. So you being out there, living a double life. All right. You keep the commandments, wear your fringes, do this and do that, but you not walking in the spirit, or you're not living the gospel. It says, "And take good heed what thou speakest. Exalt not thyself, lest thou fall, and bring dishonor upon thy soul. And so the Most High discover thy secrets and cast thee down in the midst of the congregation." That's exactly what happened. He hate that this ever happened, that this ever got out. He's more upset and angry that all that wickedness got out, and he got the most scrutiny he's ever received, in the entirety of his time in the ministry. He never got it this bad. But hey, this was pretty much like the last straw. The Passover thing, that was one thing. And then things that we know about at Great Millstone. All right. The things that you've done that a lot of people wouldn't even know about. We just kept it moving. Because we got bigger fish to fry. We got to continue to teach. So we let that be. But your behavior, your attitude, everything start to get worse. All right. Thinking that you somebody that you're truly not. And it got to the point where the Lord got sick and tired and was like, you know what? Let me expose this fool, man. Who do he think he is? And cast thee down in the midst of the congregation, because thou camest not in truth to the fear of the Lord, but thy heart is full of deceit. And you deceived yourself. All right. You forgot that Yahweh Shai is supposed to be in us. And it says that in what was it, James? One that is let me see, I think it's in James 1, if I'm not mistaken. Yep. James 1 and 21, it says, wherefore lay apart all filthiness and superfluity of naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. But be ye doers of the word, and not hearers only, deceiving your own selves. For if any man be a hearer of the word and not a doer, he is like unto a man beholding his natural face in a glass. You still looking at the old man, the same man that you always was. All right. That man was supposed to be mortified. When you repent, that old person is gone. But here it is. You playing like you in the word, but you're not doing what the word says. For he beholdeth himself and goeth his way, and straightway forgetteth what manner of man he was. So that's you get caught up. You got lost in this persona and all this praise from all these yes men that are around you. And you just totally forget. If this dude had any humility and character, he would just let everything be. Take the low, which you deserve to take the low. You're supposed to take the low, because you're being buffeted for your fault. Not because you're blameless, not because you didn't. It's just between me and my woman. Well, that doesn't matter. You still committed iniquity, and you tried to lie and to get ahead of it before everything else came out. You tried to lie. You tried to deny certain things, man. So you weren't even sincere when you addressed it initially. And we all remember this. All right. I would have never done that video when you finally peeked your face out and didn't cry until the end before you cut the camera off with them crocodile tears, man. There's one that hangeth his head down sadly, but inwardly he's full of deceit. So now we seeing that you definitely wasn't sincere, because look what you're doing now.
Just exclusively, right? Now, and understanding that, if I already repented, paid for a whole therapist, all these things, worked through that, then months later, because the woman is mad at me, she then weaponizes it with jealous brothers who were conspired. Now, you got to understand, there was a whole conspiracy. There were men who I was on.
Conspiracy. This was a whole conspiracy to take down the gorilla. Oh, man. This is pathetic, man. This is pathetic. He just can't own it, This is straight up childish antics. And like I said, this is only making things worse. It's making matters worse, man. I didn't even want to do this video because I'm done. Like I'm already over this, But you running over there to Sa Neter, man. I'm not shocked at all. But I just had to say something. All right. But you got some nerve. The play victim, man. That's Esau all the way. Hey, that's Cain all the way. My punishment is greater than I can bear. You just committed murder, but you're complaining about your punishment. You couldn't make this up, man. and then run into an unbeliever at that to express, your hurt. Well, yeah, you're not removing yourself. The Lord is just rejecting you. He's casting you away. All right. Maybe if you would have, put your body under subjection. 1 Corinthians 9. Maybe if you would have took Paul's advice, who you say was unauthoritative, then maybe you wouldn't be in this position. 1 Corinthians 9:25, it says, "And every man that striveth for the mastery is temperate in all things. Now they do it to obtain a corruptible crown, but we an incorruptible. I therefore so run, not as certainly, so fight I, not as one that beateth the air, but I keep under my body and bring it into subjection." Right? All while dismissing the authority in the writings of Apostle Paul. You just sitting up there on that high seat, exalted, proud, lofty. You showing up to brothers' camps, 30, 50 deep, knowing that we don't see eye to eye with you, but you want to show up deep. Like you just, look at all the men that I got, following me. So I'm going to come and flex and give a fake salute and surround your camp, but I'm going to act like I'm doing it out of love. But you it says, "Lest that by any means, when I have preached to others, I myself should be a castaway." So really, you acting like you're dismissing us, but really, the Lord is just, he's casting you away. All right. The Greek word is adakimas. And it says, Strong's definition, unapproved, i.e. rejected, by implication worthless, literally or morally cast away, rejected. All right. Yeah, you got tested out and you're found not worthy. That the second definition, that which does not prove itself such as it ought, unfit for, unproved, spurious, reprobate. And that's why you got to run over to Sa-Neter, for acceptance and empathy, because the Lord, he rejected you. All right. So, yeah, man. Cry me a freaking river, man. All right. The Lord ain't, he's not dealing with you, bro. You can cry over there all you want. You can say that brothers are wronging you. They're dogging you out. You already got therapy and you repented from it. That's all right, cool. But how many offenses are you going to commit while knowing better? The scripture saying Sirach, if a man gets close to a dead body after he's been washed, what good was his cleansing? So do a man that he trespasses again after fasting. What good is his fasting? What good is his humbling if you're going to continue to do the same shit? Maybe not the exact same sin, but you're doing a lot of very, very bad offensive shit. And it's going on long enough. All right, grifting, making merchandise of the Lord's ministry. Come on, man. teaching you know, doctrines like you can have sex on a Sabbath day. All these things are bro, like you're not clean at all, bro. You're just not. You're not innocent, you're not clean. So I don't care anymore. You know, at this point, you know, he can say what he want to say. You know, hey, like the Apostle Tahar said months ago, man, just get your house in order, man. That's all you can really do. Just get your house in order. All right. So that's pretty much my response to this, man. And I'm done with it. All right. So with that, I'm gonna give all honor, praise, and glory to Abba Shem Al Shai. And to the next one, Shalom.